Despicable, I say.
If I could write you a song to make you find out, I would already have you right under my own. Let's go.
Let's get it, baby. Welcome to season number 2 of the Go For 2 podcast. I am your host, Jackson Wallace. I got my friend, my buddy, my pal, Lucas Avery. What's up, Lucas?
How's it going? All right.
Okay.
Upgraded. I upgraded this week. You notice we've gone from
Yeah.
or not this week. This episode. It's the next day. We recorded Hometown Heroes yesterday. By the way, new segment Hometown Heroes that we're just starting to do on here. So, or we're doing it separately now.
Right.
So we had it in the pod and we pulled it out because it was taking too long and people were complaining because they didn't want to hear about the two best teams in the NFL. But we don't like those people anyways. But we still care about their views.
Losers. All of them.
We don't get a lot, so we need them all.
Yeah, we need every little bit.
Anyways, so in our Hometown Heroes episode that comes out this week, which we recorded yesterday, I was drinking orange juice out of the jug. All right.
It wasn't just a regular jug; it was a whole gallon.
Yeah.
That's a big
So we
jug.
had it's quarantine season. All right, that's all we got out here. So anyway, so I've upgraded to the baby bottles of the Diet Mountain Dew.
I like it. I got a Gatorade Zero.
It's also like half frozen. So if y'all see me flip out and spill stuff everywhere, just laugh at me. But
It's all good. Yo, so if Gatorade or Mountain Dew want to sponsor us, we will do anything. Anything. If y'all want to send us some Gatorades, send us
I
some
got
Mountain
two problems
Dews.
with what you just said, Jackson.
What?
Number one,
Okay. What you got a problem with?
what does Gatorade or Mountain Dew want with us, bro? Nothing. All right.
Currently
All right?
nothing,
Number
but we're
two,
gonna look
my
back on this
second problem
episode.
is
What?
the amount of creepiness that came through when you said anything. No.
I'm willing to do anything, bro. $20, $20.
All I got to say is that that's a cheap sponsorship deal, bro.
Obviously, I think we asked for a little
Anyways.
more than 20.
Anyways, welcome back. All right, it's been a minute.
It has been a
Okay.
hot minute. We've been in
I will tell
hibernation.
this story again for those that do not know, because they didn't watch the Hometown Heroes episode because they don't want to hear about the best two teams in the NFL. Mr. Jackson here has literally been texting me like every day for like 2 months. He's like, "Let's start the pod back up, man," and I'm like, "We can't start the pod back. We have a date set aside to start the pod." And he's like, "No, let's go ahead and do it, man. All this stuff is happening." And I'm like, "We're gonna come out with the pod, and then the next day, like before we can even upload it, something else is gonna happen." And it's just we didn't have a good schedule going, and we're in the middle of the Corona apocalypse. All right, so there's all kinds of stuff going on. We don't know what's happening. No one knows what the world is coming to. We're all on lockdown. I talk to my fish when I get bored. Okay, that's what's happening right now.
We're talking to Marlon over there, bro. Oh my gosh.
But-
yeah, I literally
so
have
anyways.
not left you alone in the past like 2
we were literally
months.
we were supposed to do this episode next week.
We were.
He got me to do it a week early, but that's all I budged. All right, I'm
Just a
pretty
little bit.
firm, but I just 1 week.
Yeah, man, we're out here in the middle of the Corona apocalypse. We don't know what's going on. We don't know what's happening. Obviously, it's been changing the world around us, as we know, especially in sports. So I figured, and we figured together, what better time than to bring some entertainment to you guys? There's no games on right now. Are we going to have a season? We better.
It's so dry.
Yeah.
It's so dry.
It's very dry. I know everybody's sick and tired of hearing about it. I know I am too. But anyway, so we thought we'd bring out something different, something a little different to listen to in the car, other than, how many more cases are happening. But anyway, thank you guys for giving us your time and showing up and listening to the pod.
Yeah, preach.
So we got an action-packed show.
This
for you
ain't gonna
guys
be
today.
forever. All right. I hope you guys are like backpacking across the whole Rocky Mountains, or you're like driving cross country. Okay. All right. Or maybe Maybe you're swimming across the Atlantic. It's going to take that long.
It really is. A lot has happened since the Super Bowl, since season 1. We got some cool stuff here for season 2 too, as well.
2-2.
2-2. I know, right? I said it and I thought about it. I was like, ooh. Oh my gosh, man. But yo, what's up, Lucas? As you're drinking your,
I can't get it to open. It's half frozen, so it wants to explode on me.
Oh, well,
so I'm gonna be messing with this for the whole pod. All right, the episode will be done recording, and I still won't have this top off. But know that I'm trying. I'm doing my best. Okay.
If you guys want to see Lucas successfully open up the Mountain Dew, little baby Mountain Dew, you should go over to youtube.com/go2podcast and watch the video format.
If you're not watching the video format anyways, like, why are you here?
You know who does watch it? Our man Casey. Shout out to Casey, the loyal subscriber.
We don't have anything from Casey, do we? Since it's week 1, we haven't come out with any episodes.
No, he did one. He did. Actually, he did say one thing, Lucas. He did say one thing. Because I talked to him a couple days ago. And he wanted to point out that the XFL is not returning next year. And that he's extremely sad about it.
They just like shut down or whatever, right?
Filed for bankruptcy. Yeah.
Anyway. I'm going to assume that has something to do with like the coronavirus, literally cutting the season short.
For sure.
All that stuff. That makes sense. But wasn't going to work anyways. Honestly. I feel like everyone just kind of knows that like these off-brand NFL leagues just aren't going to work.
Yeah. But he did say one good thing.
Go ahead.
For sure. Actually, I think our friend Austin went to one of the games recently. Anyway, but he did say I think his name was PJ Tucker. I don't know. I could be slandering the name. Quarterback. Yeah. I think it was the undefeated team, the Houston team. He did say that, and I did see this, that he got picked up by Carolina.
Yeah,
so I guess he's going to be. I guess he's going to be competing for the starting job with Bridgewater. I don't think he's really going to win it, but he got picked up by Carolina. There's a couple of different players that got picked up with different teams, but I know he's been kind of like the standout. So that's what we have from Casey. Thank you, Casey.
Success. It's open.
What time marker is that? 5 minutes and 34 seconds or whatever it was. Skip to it if you want to see him open it.
The trick, for those that are wondering, all right? Mm-hmm. I know this is a football pod, but this is a life lesson people need to know. All right? You just crack it a little bit. All right, not so much that it just right through the roof, right? You
can do that sound effect one more time.
Just the tiniest amount. No. One time, all right? Tiniest amount. Anyways, Jackson.
Yes, sir.
So we do have some stuff to get to. All right. So like I said earlier, it's gonna be a crazy long episode. We got to get through So are we through with the preliminary stuff? Can we get to the? Let's
get to the meat and potatoes. Of all of it.
What would you say was the most talked about thing this whole time in the NFL since like the season ended? Honestly, almost since like
even before
the first round of the playoffs was over.
Yeah, it has to do with the GOAT, number 12, TB12, Mr. Tom Brady. Where was he going to land? Where was he going to go? Was he going to stay with the Patriots? Was Bill Belichick a determining factor in him questioning whether he should come back or not? Because you brought this up, and Lucas, I'll give you credit. You brought this up episode 6 or 7, like early on in the podcast last season, and you said
there's a lot of those. There's a lot of me bringing stuff up and it coming.
You tend to be right. I think we might need to start calling you the prophet. Okay, so you brought it up. Okay. I'm giving you credit where credit is due. I don't do this very very often, so I'm gonna give this to you. Okay. He brought this up like episode 6 or 7. It looks like Brady sold his house. This man cleaned out his suite at Gillette Stadium. I think it's gonna happen. I'm like, no, man. I just can't picture Brady in another uniform. I can't picture it. I don't know why. It doesn't make sense to me. It's like seeing Kobe in like a Clippers uniform. Like it wasn't gonna happen. Okay. Speaking of R.I.P., rest in peace, Kobe. That happened since it's just been terrible. 2020.
Terrible. Yeah. This year is just. I mean, Nashville got hit by tornadoes. Then the Corona apocalypse happens, and then Chattanooga, the big city in Tennessee, just got hit by tornadoes like 2 nights ago. My sister's best friend, or one of her best friends there, has a tree through her kitchen.
Dude.
Wild stuff, I'm telling you.
It's been insane. I mean, Australia was on fire for a while. I mean, 2020 is off to a rough start. We're hoping to restart the engine and bring it back with the Go for 2 pod. Give you guys some good stuff.
Hey, man. All I'm trying to say, overpopulation The world's just taking care of itself, all right?
You know, sorry,
We're just
Thanos was right.
Swatting the gnats. Swatting the gnats. Hey, Infinity Stones. I like the reference. I love it.
Yeah, you got it. You got it, man. But yeah, speaking of the owner of the gauntlet, okay, Mr. Brady, 6 rings, okay, decided he wanted to go somewhere else. Didn't he, Lucas?
He did. And like the wildest thing about it is he went to the weirdest place. Like I did not.
I would have never fathomed.
It makes sense. Well, it's like it makes sense. It's like, oh, he's gonna go and he's got all these weapons.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a coach that I would say is a good coach, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
They've got plenty of draft capital. They had the cap space for the man. Like, it makes sense.
If you had told me like a year ago, like, hey, Tom Brady's going to be a Buccaneer next year, I would say you were
absolutely. It's in Florida.
Yeah, you've been absolutely out of your mind. Like, why would Brady go from the cold climate over to Florida? Why would he leave? Why would he leave the organization he's been with for 20 years that he won 6 championships with, been to 9 of them, literally won 2/3 of the championship appearances that he's been at? Right. For the Bucs.
So something I touched on earlier in the year was I definitely believed that Brady always had, because he's a competitor and he's the GOAT, all right? And so being the GOAT, you got some pride. And so, for 20 years, he's got people saying it's not him, it's Belichick.
Yeah.
Oh, they've got Gronk. Oh, the defense carried them. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, also Tampa Bay has a pretty good defense, and everything's good about him. So, he's going to go. He's going to have a decent defense. He's going to have offensive weapons that he's never had in the Patriots since, like, Randy Moss.
Yeah, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin.
So, it makes sense. But I was really, I was expecting him to make a move so that he could kind of prove to himself even probably that he's the GOAT and he doesn't need anyone, right? Like he can go do it somewhere else. And then you got his family. I'm sure they'd rather be chilling at the beach, instead of sitting in the snow every day.
Yeah, all right? A change of scenery would be nice. I mean, they stayed in New England for so many years because of Tom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like he a new interview just came out with him. And he said that like he knew. I'm sorry, by the way, I can't remember whose like show or whatever he was on. But yeah, he said that he knew that the relationship was over with. He knew he was going to be going somewhere else, right?
Mm-hmm.
And also he talked about him and his family, and him and his wife have had some problems, like because he is the GOAT, and the reason he's a GOAT is because he is inseparable from football. And so like, I wonder if even that played some aspect in it. It's like, okay, like
probably
you have given yourself nearly 120% to the game, and it's like, you want to make me a little happier, put me on the beach.
Yeah, put me on the beach.
I'm a supermodel and I belong on the beach.
That's right. Put me on the beach. And speaking of his deal that he got with Tampa Bay, 2 years, $50 million, so $25 million a year, fully guaranteed. I feel like that's a steal for the GOAT.
I thought it was correct me if I'm wrong, this is just off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was 2 years, $40 million fully guaranteed with $10 million in incentives. Not 1,000% on that. Is that not what it is?
$50 million guaranteed.
I don't believe you.
Okay. Okay.
No,
that's fine.
It's not that bad.
Also, obviously, with the no trade clause.
Oh, that's cool. Obviously, like with how much money he got guaranteed, he's not going to get more than $25 million a year, especially with how old he is and stuff. There was a lot of rumors he was going to go to the Titans. Him and Mike Vrabel were FaceTiming. All right, my man's was at a basketball game, FaceTiming Braves.
Yeah, y'all were kind of you were doing spooky. The happy dance.
I don't know. One day, I'd wake up and I'd be like, "Ooh, Tom Brady," and then the next day I wake up and I'd be like, "Man, we just got to keep Tannehill, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, we won the AFC Championship. I'm trying to mess nothing up." But it was wild. Rumors of Chargers and rumors of Colts.
Yeah, those are two heavy rumors.
Raiders was a rumor. Like all this stuff going on.
Could you imagine Brady in Vegas? Like
That's
that just
so
seems
weird.
it seems so anti-Brady because Brady's like, we're doing
Yeah.
the work. This is what we're doing. Like he really
Well, it's gonna be like
flies.
that in Florida, though.
He
You know what I
flies
mean?
his receivers every year out to like the cabin in the woods for 2 weeks or for a full week, and they're like, all right, here we're running routes. We got pads. Like this is what we're doing. It's all football for this week.
Right. Yeah, people gonna be partying in Florida, though. He's gonna be in the scene.
He's gonna be hanging around South Beach. So
Yeah, I actually, fun fact, real quick. I actually seen a chart today on Twitter, I believe it was, and it was like showing why players get in trouble, like banned substances or PEDs or marijuana or alcohol and stuff.
yeah,
And I think Tampa Bay was #1 in marijuana.
yeah, that does not surprise me at all. But yeah, I mean Tampa Bay, man. I mean you just said it. I mean Bruce Arians, right? Incredible head coach. He's got an amazing quarterback pedigree career, right? Think about the last guy he was, one of the last guys he was with, Kurt Warner, right? Going to the Super Bowl.
Hey, Jameis Winston had a great year stat-wise if you ignore the interceptions.
Yeah, if you ignore the interceptions, I mean, what he's a lead passer, and up there with touchdowns as well. I mean, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin were fantasy like must-haves last year. So I mean,
You
Bruce
think
Arians
Brady
knows what
is
he's
a fantasy
doing.
must-have this year coming up, you think? You think
Who?
Brady's a must-have in fantasy?
I think he's going to be I don't know, man. I think people think he's going to be a sleeper, and I feel like he's a steal in like the 4th or 5th round.
I feel that.
You know what I mean?
It's nice. It's pretty crazy though. Like just the fact they even came out with new uniforms. I wonder if that was part of it. You know, Tampa Bay came out with new uniforms, and I was like,
it's a re-imaging, right? It's turning of the page. It's a new chapter in Tampa Bay culture and Tampa Bay history. And,
well, I was wondering, do players? They probably don't. I'm assuming players don't really get money for their jersey sales, do they?
actually, I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at it. I think.
Well, even if they don't, like, can you imagine being the GM of the Bucks and you're like, I'm going to give Tom Brady what he wants. We're going to come out with new uniforms and we're about to make a killing because everyone's going to go buy a Brady jersey.
Everyone will be buying a Tom Brady.
Yes, because you have
Buccaneers
Tom Brady
jersey.
fans out of state that are coming. Like, you're
Yes.
increasing your fan base so much.
And the receivers and everyone on that team is going to listen to Tom Brady. You
yeah,
listen
he's
to
gonna
the
come
GOAT,
in and
period.
he'll
Like
be,
practices are going to be a million times better. Right?
You know, that's what
Like
you worry about a
tempo.
lot of times, like with bringing a quarterback in, especially like a younger one, like drafting one. Like,
Yeah.
they're not as assertive and stuff. I feel like.
Yeah, but Brady's going to get his. And you're going to fall in line or you're out. Period.
What do you think about do you know, like, how much do you think this quarantining deal like affects Brady in terms of like being able to work with his people and learning the
think it affects him.
playbook and
I think it affects
work
everybody
actually
in the
doing it and
NFL,
everything?
especially Brady.
Yeah, but this
This is Brady. Yeah. Because like we just said, Brady likes to fly his receivers out to a cabin in the woods, and they go over film. I watched the TB12 like little mini docu-series on Facebook. Give it a look if you guys haven't already. But he you'll go and you'll see what they're doing. They go over film. He's wearing pads. They're doing drill after drill after drill, route after route after route, and he's giving like pointers like, okay, you should be here, and no, we want this timing to be like just like this. Like he works with his guys, like, and he loves his O-line. He takes his O-line out to dinner all the time. Like he connects with his players, so I'm sure it's affecting him quite a bit, especially more than Jameis Winston.
Jameis Winston.
Poor Jameis.
Not
Did
even. Not
you
even
see the
signed
post
right
he
now.
put out? He put out
About
this.
yeah.
He was like, man, I guess kudos to me. The only way I was going to get out of Tampa was from the GOAT. And I'm like, I don't know about that one, buddy. But okay.
Hell, he was talking about like being in the MVP conversation and stuff like that. The guy's wild, bro.
Isn't he?
Post some wild stuff. He stood up on a table, in college and said some
You said some things.
said some things.
I mean,
but
if you don't
past
look at
Brady-
if you don't look at the interceptions, I mean, great.
Yeah, it looks
last
great,
year.
bro. You know what I mean? Hey, if you look past his terrible attitude, he's a cool guy too.
There you go.
So other than Brady, like Brady was a huge free agency signing. There's been some other big ones, right? Breeze re-signed. I know that was a question we talked about. I don't remember honestly if I probably said one
We
episode
thought
that
he
I
might
thought he would
retire.
come back. Yeah. And then I was about to say, and then probably the next episode, I was probably like, I think Tom Brady's Drew Brees gonna leave because you just didn't know. All right, there was rumors about him
Yeah.
signing TV deals, which he's done for when he
Right.
retires, which is
Right,
wild.
exactly.
That man's
Well,
making some
that, and
money.
then you had the element of Bridgewater, right? Bridgewater comes in on the team and takes them. I think they're 4-0 with Bridgewater. It's either 4-0 or 5-0. 4-0 or 5-0.
This probably wouldn't have happened, but I think it would have been cool if like he went to the Chargers.
Like go back.
Yeah, and then one like
Just came full
a Super Bowl
circle
with him.
That would have been crazy.
That would have been cool.
That would have been a cool story.
Amari Cooper, right, with the Cowboys.
Yeah. Cooper,
Big
we signed
deal.
him 5-year, $100 million deal. I talked a little more in depth about that in our Hometown Heroes video.
Yep. Tannehill signed with the Titans.
Tannehill signed.
deal.
We franchise tagged Dak as well, but he still hasn't signed yet at this point.
We franchise tagged Derrick Henry, and he did sign because we don't draft people like that, Jackson. All right? Titans got a culture.
Oh, so he did sign? Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, he signed his tender. Yeah.
Perfect. I think working out a long-term deal.
What else? Y'all got Byron Jones, right? Y'all left. He went to Miami.
Yeah, I went to
He left
Miami.
y'all?
Highest paid cornerback now in the league.
Sheesh.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, they made some big splashes too.
They really did.
Bridgewater to the Panthers.
Yeah, so
you got.
Side note. Think about the NFC South quarterbacks right now. Okay? You got Bridgewater in Carolina. Okay, last time we saw him last season, he led the Saints to a 4 or 5-0 start. Okay, played incredibly well, was competing for the starting job. If Breeze decided to retire, he would have been handed the keys to New Orleans. So he's just kind of that guy. Then you you think about Drew Brees. You don't really have to say much about him. I mean, all-time league passer. He's got records upon records upon records. Then you think about in Atlanta, you got Matty Ice. Okay, he's no scrub. He played decent last year. They were plagued by injuries.
Sometimes he's good. Sometimes he's bad. He's a weird guy. You know what I mean?
But he has that MVP
Julio.
caliber performance potential in him.
Of course.
And then, guess who just joined the conversation? The GOAT. Tom
The
Brady.
GOAT.
So, I mean, you look at those quarterbacks, and I am really excited for the NFC South next year. I think that's going to be the hardest decision for me on who's going to win that division.
I didn't think about it, but even that could play a role in him going to Tampa Bay. He's like, I want to go and I'm gonna prove that I'm better than the other best quarterbacks in the league.
We get Breeze
they're
versus
not the
Brady.
best,
We get Breeze versus Brady twice a year now.
which is wild.
That's all I want.
I mean, we're only gonna get that for 2 years probably. So
Yeah, but it's more than we've gotten before. So
we got to make it count.
That's right. I'm ready for
Phillip
it.
Rivers to the Colts. All right?
Yeah, big splash over there.
Well, I mean, like I didn't want to. The Titans obviously were looking at quarterbacks. Well, we said we weren't, that we were just focused on getting Tannehill. But let's be honest, we looked at everything.
You look at your options and evaluate as you need to.
Exactly, and I didn't want Phillip Rivers, but I hate that the Colts got him. 'Cause there's something about this man, Phillip Rivers. All right, stiff as a board, can only run like half a mile an hour, and this man just throws the ball down the field on the Titans all day. Every time we play.
He brings that energy too, man, to his team and to his teammates and into the locker room. Like, he is just full of, like, we're going to go and do it to him every single time.
He loves football.
He does. He's a big time competitor. I know he's choked a lot in the past with San Diego and subsequently LA. Very successful regular season quarterback. Not so much in the past couple of years, but can he do something in the playoffs with a young up and coming team with the Colts?
Yeah. What
Question
else
marks.
we got? Gurley went to Atlanta.
I was about to say, yeah, Gurley went to
All right.
Atlanta. So, I mean, they released Devontae Freeman. I think, as far as I know, he's still a free agent. But they
Melvin
pick up
Gordon went to the
where'd he go?
Broncos.
Yeah,
He went to the Broncos to be the backup behind Philip Lindsay, which is wild.
Yeah, so I guess maybe he thinks he can compete for the starting job and play against the Chargers.
Well, he
Austin
said that
Eckler.
he went there so he could play against the Chargers.
Yeah.
But it blows my mind that he held out like that. And then,
It hurt him.
I mean, you get your job taken. Le'Veon Bell's washed, bro. His own team doesn't even want him right now.
Yeah, the Jets don't want him. They were trying to trade him at the deadline last year. But yeah,
No one
Todd
wants
Gurley
him.
up in Atlanta. That's a huge addition for them. Gosh, what else? There's been all kinds of signings everywhere. I know we're definitely missing some. I mean, Robert Quinn, he was our team leading sack leader. He went up to join Chicago. Oh, Nick Foles over to Chicago as well. We'll talk about that later in the pod. We got a full segment.
Yep, yep.
He's over there in Chicago. So Gardner Minshew, the starter in Jacksonville. Gosh, man. And there's, some other little dinky... Randall Cobb, the Cowboy. He went to Houston. We got some Houston trades we're going to talk about later in the show as well. But, dude, a lot of free agency moves. I feel like this year was one of, like, the biggest free agency, like, kind of carousels around the league. It's kind of like a bit of a shakeup.
You think so? I feel like there was a bunch of re-signs, but, like, overall, like, in terms of players actually leaving, I felt like it was slow, especially after day one, just because of the Rona. So, like, people can't get physicals and stuff like that. I mean, like, Clowney's still out there.
Yeah, but I mean, like, in terms of, like, big names and especially quarterbacks, like,
Brady left.
We're not going to see Brady left. You got Bridgewater over in Carolina now.
I don't think he's that great, though. They're going to lose a lot of games.
Possibly.
They're going to lose a lot of football.
Foles in Chicago. And Rivers up in the Colts. Like, it's like we're shifting a quarterback era, Because I feel like over the past, like, 8 to 10 years, you've had, like, these bigger names that have been kind of staples within the league. And the new generation's coming up. Those older guys are being replaced. Eli, Phillip Rivers, Brett Favre's not in the league. Manning's not in the league. Brady's about to be done. Brees is about to be done.
Man, it's so sad.
Roethlisberger.
Stop! It's so sad. Stop it! It's terrible. I don't want to hear that.
We're in the midst of a change in the NFL.
Well, look, we're talking about changing quarterbacks and everything. All right, let's talk about Cam. All right, because all through season one of the pod. All right, you're just riding this man's back everywhere he goes. All right, you're just right there with him, on his side all the time. Ooh, Jackson, #1 Cam Newton fan. All right, and it is aggravating. Oh, by the way,
I told you
he's not starting for the Panthers anymore, bro.
I told you that. I told you he wouldn't be starting for the Panthers, and you laughed at me.
I don't think that's how it went.
That's definitely how it went. Go back and listen to it. I said he would not be starting for the Panthers next year. And you're like, what? Jackson, I don't think you understand the value of a good quarterback because you, as a Cowboy fan, have been blessed for years and years and years with good quarterbacks.
And I've been
stuck with Mariota.
Right?
And so when you have Newton, you keep on to him.
This is how this pod works. What? I bash you all the time. Even if I'm wrong, I flip the roles if I need to in order to bash you. That's how this works. As far as me and Casey are concerned, all right, you were wrong, and I said the stuff that was right, even though that's not what happened. That's what really happened.
As a prophet going. Okay, I see. But yeah, Cam, I mean, he posted this long post, Carolina, about how Carolina gave up on him. So he's mad, and he's working.
And they also, I feel like kind of let him on a little bit because he kind of waited a while, it seemed like. It was almost like they were like, oh, now we got Bridgewater.
Sorry, Cam. See ya.
Yeah.
So there's a better option came along.
I don't really like
Kyle Allen. You think? I mean, they had Kyle Allen before, and so it's like, yeah, of course, we're gonna keep you along, Cam. As soon as a better option came along.
So we got to talk about where Cam's gonna go.
Yes.
All right. First off, will he sign before or after the draft? And if he does sign, where do you think he's going to go? Is he going to be a starter, backup?
Yeah, okay. So we have also a new thing. We introduced this onto the Hometown Hero segment. New thing this year, it's called Calling It, right? Yes. And so basically what this is you can, at any point throughout the season, you could say, I'm calling it, and you say whatever you think is going to happen throughout that year. But the limit is it has to happen this season. And
yeah. My man Jackson was like, "Oh, Patrick Mahomes will make the Hall of Fame or something like that." And I'm like, "We gotta wait 40 years to find out if that happens."
It was Russell Wilson versus Aaron Rodgers thing, but yes, correct. So yeah, we were like, and Lucas was correct in saying that it should end throughout this year. I said that's right. So,
nothing new.
And if you get it right, if you call it, you get it right, you get an extra win on your win-loss record for our pick'ems. If you get it wrong, you take an extra loss. So you lose a point.
Yep.
So my first call in it of the year for season 2 of the Go For 2 podcast is that Cam Newton will sign on a team before the NFL regular season kicks off. I think he'll sign with the team.
That is not at all what you're calling it was. I wrote it down.
What do you have written down?
I
'Cause
wrote
that's
it
exactly
down,
what I'm saying.
Jackson.
I said before the NFL season kicks off.
Cam will be a starter by week 1.
Oh, excuse me. Yes, he will be a starter. He will sign with the team and be a starter.
That's what it was. He will be a starter by week 1 of the regular season. Okay?
Yes.
It's not going to happen. All right? I don't think. He's going to get hurt in the preseason or something.
And that's possible. You have durability issues.
I hate Cam's luck, man. I really hate Cam's luck. I really feel like he's towards the end of his career. You see it a lot of time in these quarterbacks that are good quarterbacks, and then just towards the end, they're just plagued by injuries. They can't stay healthy.
Yeah. I wanted this calling to be spicy. I could have easily said before the trade deadline, and I think that's really realistic, but we got to make it spicy.
This guy.
What?
When he was saying it yesterday, he was like, I got to give myself more time.
Yeah, because before I was going to say training camp, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's not happening.
Yeah. Does anyone really know who to start? I mean, training camp happens, and it's like, everything's open competition. I tell you, Derrick Henry ain't fighting for no starting position next year, all right?
Yeah, but somebody's going to get hurt, and Cam's going to get a call. That's kind of my bet for training camp.
Honestly, I don't have any ideas of where Cam is going to go. I really don't.
Maybe LA, maybe the Chargers.
I mean, like, there's all this stuff. I think he's going to sign after the draft. I don't think anyone wants him until after the draft because
Agreed.
There are some questions when it comes to where some quarterbacks going to be drafted, specifically after Joe Burrow. We know where he's going.
All
right. And then after that, we have like no idea what's going on. There's like all this Corona apocalypse stuff's going on, so like teams can't really interview in person with all these players and stuff.
Yeah.
They can't really work them out and stuff. There's a lot of problems going on in terms
Agreed.
of scouting for this draft, which is a week away. So excited.
Yes.
And I think it hurts quarterbacks, specifically past Joe Burrow, you know? Like, people talk about Jordan Love, and some people are like, oh, he's going to get drafted by the Dolphins before Tua even gets drafted. And then other people are like, you're wild. He's like a 4th-round man. So
yeah. And interviews play a big role in that. Bringing a guy in, working him out, seeing him throw, looking at his footwork, like that. All of that matters. People rise and fall in draft stock based off those things. So
that's like Jake Fromm, the quarterback from Georgia. I can't stand him. In terms of a player, as a guy, he seems fine.
Right.
I hated watching him at Georgia though. Like I thought he was overrated. And that might just be my opinion since I'm in Tennessee and
Things
SEC.
happen. Yeah.
but I really don't think he's that great. But now they're saying that his draft stock is just shooting through the roof because his interviews are going incredible right now. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens there. But back to the Cam thing, Chargers, Patriots, stuff
Big
like that.
spots,
I would love for him to go to the Patriots. I think that'd be awesome. I think it'd be good for him. I'm not sure he necessarily fits, but I think it'd be good for him.
Before Nick Foles, I would have said Chicago. That's kind of a no-brainer. Also, another free agent that Mariota went over to Oakland, right? So I think that takes away an opportunity for Cam to go.
It definitely does. He could go to Jacksonville.
He could go to Jacksonville. I don't think Gardner Minshew is definitely the quarterback future for Jacksonville at all. I think
you don't believe in Jorts, man? You don't believe in the Jorts?
I don't believe in the Jorts. I don't believe in the mustache, man. I really don't. I think he's there to literally sell mustaches to the fans as they rebuild. That's it. It depends on who Miami drafts.
Completely I think rebuilding.
Yeah, it depends on who Miami drafts. If they get Tua, they're not biting on Cam at all. If they, fall back in the draft and they lose their guy, who knows? We'll have a lot clearer picture after the draft.
Yeah, we're also next week in our pod episode we're going to do mock draft. All right.
Yeah, it's our draft episode. It comes out on the day of the draft. Isn't that beautiful?
It's a great time. We might have to release it a day early.
Yeah,
because some people need time to listen to the episode. Jackson, Jesus. But what are you thinking about Cam? Like, I literally can't. I can't just be like, I really think he's going to go there. Like, I have no idea.
I have no idea either. I think big time candidates are the Chargers for sure, because it looks like they're going to go with Tyrod Taylor. Last time a team wanted to go with Tyrod Taylor, they got replaced by Baker Mayfield. I can easily see that happening. I can also see the Patriots Unless Bill Belichick makes a big move in the draft. I can see them
Hey,
bringing in
Chargers,
Cam for a
tank for
workout.
Trevor. Tank for Trevor, brother.
Tank for
What's
Trevor.
up?
That's right. Or
Play
Jacksonville.
Tyrod.
It just kind of depends on what team is all in.
No. No.
I can see
Don't say it,
Jacksonville.
Jackson.
What?
Don't. No, that can't happen to me, bro.
Bro, you don't want to be in the same division as Cam Newton?
No, I'm talking about. I thought you were talking about. I said tank for Trevor, and I thought you were talking about or Jacksonville tank for Trevor, and I was like, don't do
I
it.
could see that too.
I
could
don't
see
want to
that
play
too.
him.
I really could. I could see that happening. The Colts are going to pick him up. Pittsburgh, unlikely candidate. Depends on Ben Roethlisberger's health. If he has some issues, I could see them looking for an outside help.
Do you think he's going to be a backup, even though you called it for him to be a starter?
Yeah, I think he's going to be brought in as a backup. Well, nothing's going to happen until after the draft, clearly. And then I think he'll be brought in somewhere right around training camp because someone inevitably is going to get hurt and he's going to get a call, or he's going to get a call beforehand say, hey, we want you as insurance in case of blank. And if he's willing to accept that, that guy gets hurt, maybe he outperforms him in practice, then he becomes a starter. But
I think I'd actually like him to go to Miami.
Yeah.
I think I'd like that because they're going to draft someone, and even though I don't necessarily want his characteristics in terms of his personal traits to rub off on my franchise quarterback,
Right.
he might be able to help him a little bit,
Yeah.
Bring in a guy like Tua. Maybe he's a little hurt and you don't want to play him, play Cam.
Yeah, play Cam for a year. Let Tua learn the offense. Let him learn the structure as you're rebuilding. Don't throw him out there, in front of a O-line that is not the best at the moment and, could re-injure his legs super quick. I like that. I like him going to Miami. If they have the cap space and they draft Tua, you let Tua sit for a year. But then again, you want to sell tickets. So it's it's up to Miami, but I feel like it's going to be one of those scenarios. Sign as a backup, or someone gets hurt and he gets a call. Other than the LA, I can see saying, hey, if we can get you, come on over because we don't really believe in Tyrod.
Right. So let's stay on the quarterback train, right? I feel like the NFL is always on the quarterback train, and honestly, it's a little aggravating to me. But it's just the most important guy on the field, so you got to talk about him.
It is.
So we got to talk about Chicago, right? You said earlier we're going to get to that. We're there. All right. We've pulled up to the parking lot. It's time to walk in. Okay.
Let's do it.
Trubisky versus Foles. All right.
Yes.
Who's going to get the start, Jackson? Boom. Give it to me.
Immediately, Nick Foles. 100%. Without a doubt.
You think so?
I actually believe more than that. I would call that more than the Cam Newton. But yeah, Nick Foles is going to get the. I mean, he's got the resume, he's got the pedigree. Yeah, he's coming off an injury, but Mitch Trubisky was highlighted last year many times as being the worst quarterback in the league. Terrible, awful. At the end of the year, he kind of had a little bit of a resurgence, started playing a little bit better. But I think if you don't have Trubisky, I think if Foles, number one, if Foles is not injured, and you replace Trubisky with Foles last year with that Chicago team, I think they're a playoff team.
Well,
with that defense,
I can't really argue with that, but at the same time, I'm gonna say that Trubisky is gonna get the start.
Really?
He might not last. The reason I'm gonna say that is because I see a Mariota Tannehill situation happening again.
Okay.
You got your quarterback that you drafted first overall, right?
Yeah. I don't know if he
Extremely
was
high.
first round. He was a top five
first,
pick. Yeah,
in the
he was
first
up there.
round. Yeah. So you've got this guy. You've got huge draft pick invested in this man, and you want him to be the future of your franchise because of that, right?
Right.
You don't want to look stupid. He's also younger than Foles, so he could be there for a longer term. In terms of building up for your franchise, it's a way better deal for him to work out. And if this is his last chance, you got to give him that last chance.
Okay.
And also another thing is I feel like he is hyped up in training camp every year and in preseason.
Yeah.
I'm always reading articles around that time of year, and it's like Mitchell Trubisky is just killing it. And then the season starts and my man can't throw a 5-yard out. But
Yeah, I mean, I feel like in that scenario, you could be correct in terms of first 2 games. Okay, we're going to go with Mitch, and if he stinks it up, then we're going to replace him with Foles. But I mean, I definitely 100% believe that. I mean, even before the midway point in the season, Foles is a starter. I think he's a starter before week 4.
Lost his job to Garner Minshew.
He got hurt.
And then came back healthy and lost his job.
But how healthy can you be coming off a clavicle injury? Romo tried to come back off a clavicle injury like twice in Dallas, and he just wasn't the same. It takes a while to get back.
Jacksonville's a terrible team, terrible locker room and everything, terrible management. I can't stick up for them.
So I mean, but I really do. I mean, the starter's going to be Nick Foles. If it's not by week 1, it's by week 4.
Right. I mean, I think Foles should be the starter because I'm not a Trubisky guy, but I just feel like there's so much invested. It's the same thing with Marcus. Like,
no, you're definitely
we
right.
had to start Marcus.
Yeah,
like he was going to be the starter.
You had to give him that last little, okay, dude, come on, get it together. If you can't, we're pulling you.
Yep.
You were correct in that aspect for sure.
So I think I mentioned something like 4 seconds ago about terrible management.
Yes.
All right. You want to get into some terrible management, Jackson?
Oh, lay it on me. Learn me something.
All right. Question of the week.
I like questions.
Is Billy O crazy or is he crazy smart,
okay,
Jackson?
Okay, this is a meaty topic.
If he's crazy smart, then I am just brain dead.
No, I 100%. Dude's crazy. He's absolutely crazy. And here's why. I didn't need these trades to happen to tell you he was crazy. Let's rewind. Let's go all the way back. Houston versus Buffalo. Wild card round. First round of the playoffs. Here we go. Bill O'Brien has an opportunity to win the game at the end. But instead of running the ball up the middle to get the first down, he calls it a pass play. I think this is what happens, right? He calls it a pass play. He goes for it on like 4th and 2 in his own territory. And instead of punting the ball away and ending the half quickly, he goes for it on a rollout with Deshaun Watson. They don't complete, and Buffalo's able to get an easy touchdown. There was like 2 or 3 situations of this. I can't remember exactly how it happened, but he mismanaged.
Hard to keep track. There's so many.
Yeah, he mismanaged the end of the game at Buffalo, and had it not been for Josh Allen literally choking out of his mind and fumbling the ball and losing 36 yards of offense in 2 plays, had it not been for that, Buffalo would have stole that game.
Sorry to interrupt. Literally gets hit perfectly. All right.
Yes.
Everyone's like, Deshaun Watson, he's a magician. He's so good. This man, if you get hit from both sides at the same time, like, you're gonna stay up.
Yes.
I listened to the ex-GM of the Titans talk about it, and he was like, I mean, he got hit from both ways at the same time. They just kind of cancel out. Those 2 guys fall, and then Watson, keeps going.
Yeah.
But my problem with Bill O'Brien goes back to he runs the GM out of town because they didn't get along, and then he's the GM. So now he's coach and GM. I already don't like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Next up, you've got the Laramie Tunsil trade. Gives up so much draft capital for a left tackle, and I understand he thinks that is a Pro Bowl, or not a Pro Bowl because the Pro Bowl is a little misleading, an All-Pro left tackle, right?
Right.
And I think he even made the Pro Bowl this year, and he's good. He's probably more of a right tackle for me. I don't think he's quite good enough to be a left, but
yeah,
he's a good player. But they just gave up so much for him, and they got Kenny Stills also. But I felt like it was too. And then you turn around, all right? You go through the year. He's making all these mistakes throughout the year, including Jadeveon Clowney, which now kind of some people are like, maybe it wasn't a mistake. Like, he wanted $20 million and no one's giving him $20 million. But
Right, but
and
what'd you
he
get for him? Eh,
exactly he
they
didn't get
didn't really
nothing, and
get
he was
that
the number
much.
one overall pick.
Yeah.
Um,
You were just talking about, like, what we were talking about with Trubisky. You have so much draft capital in this guy, and you're going to give him up for, I can't remember what the deal was, but, I mean, it didn't, it
he
was
was
kind of
coming
like,
off a good
really?
year.
They got Clowney for cheap, Seattle did.
Hmm.
And they
And then
made it pretty far in the playoffs because of it.
you
Or
got
it was a factor.
this man choking in the Chiefs game. I think people were like, the Chiefs are amazing. That's right. But there was some bad coaching that led to the Chiefs coming back on them.
For bad decision making, game mismanagement. That was another thing with the Chiefs. He's about to go into halftime up 24-0. Right? There's 2 minutes left, and instead of running the ball, he decides to go for it on his own 20, and gives the Chiefs a short field. All of a sudden, they score, and they just keep rolling. And then before halftime, they're down by 4 points, and they could have gone into halftime up by 24.
Yeah. And then you got the newest trade, all this stuff that he's done. All right. So this man literally traded DeAndre Hopkins, the best wide receiver in the league.
When I saw that flash up on my phone, I said, there is no way this is true.
All right. Does anyone else disagree with him being the best wide receiver in the league?
Oh, no.
Best wide receiver in the league. Okay. This man's hands are ginormous. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you have that conversation, it's him or Julio.
Yeah. And
OBJ's not there anymore, so he's kind of fell off a degree for me.
So, like, you basically trade DeAndre Hopkins for David Johnson, injury-prone, stupid contract. All right.
Older running back.
And you for Brandon Cooks, who's had some injury problems lately, and he's been traded like 16 times in the last 2 years.
Right, and those guys were on separate teams. The DeAndre Hopkins deal was Hopkins.
It was through some stuff, but this is basically what it is. All right,
Okay.
He lost more draft picks, lost DeAndre Hopkins, gained David Johnson, gained Brandon Cooks, and he gained some salary cap room to get Randall Cobb.
Yeah, that's essentially what those two trades equal down to.
Right.
Yes.
My biggest problem, number one, is he has lost so much draft capital.
Yeah.
It's like he doesn't care what happens to the team in 2 years.
Right. Didn't you say he didn't have a first round pick this year?
Excuse me. I don't think he has a first this year or next year. And I'm not sure if he even has a second this year.
Yeah, so he's not picking until 100.
There's some wild stuff going on. Like he gave up a lot of stuff.
And DeAndre Hopkins.
The
best wide receiver in the league.
So for those that don't know, the deal with the DeAndre Hopkins thing is like DeAndre Hopkins came in and he's like, I'm making $13 million. I want 20. Okay.
Yeah.
Billy L said we're not going to do that. So he trades him. I don't really know David Johnson's contract, but I want to focus on the wide receiver aspect of it.
Yeah, David Johnson's contract was a big problem for Arizona.
Yeah. So Hopkins wanted $20 million. He's not going to get it. Randall Cobb and Brandon Cooks together this year are a $17 million cap hit. Okay.
Yeah.
So first off, I just want to say, do you think one DeAndre Hopkins is equivalent or better than Randall Cobb and Brandon Cooks?
DeAndre Hopkins is way better than those two.
I think it's way better, right? Like
Yeah,
it impacts
agreed.
your team a lot more. So this year it's $17 million. So it's like, oh, okay, $3 million, less than what it would have been. Brandon Cooks and Randall Cobb are pretty good. I can kind of see you're trying to build like a Kansas City deal where like you got some speed, you got Brandon Cooks, you got Kenny Stills, you got Will Fuller, all fast guys, gazelles, right?
And don't forget the extra $7.5 million you pick up off David Johnson's contract, because that was part of the trade. David Johnson, the Arizona got to offload David Johnson's contract onto Houston.
Right. But I'm just focusing on the wide receiver part because I want to make the comparison with the wide receivers. Right?
Okay, go. I just didn't want that to be forgotten. It's an extra.
I got you. Next year though, Brandon Cook's contract goes up, so him and Randall Cobb together are $21 million.
Yeah.
So you could literally have just kept DeAndre, found a halfback in free agency, Melvin Gordon, for super cheap, who's healthier, and can do just as much as David Johnson, although David Johnson averages like 10 yards per reception or something.
I will say, when David Johnson is healthy, this man is a machine. He was up there competing for best running back in the NFL for a couple of years. Like, he was playing extremely well.
Yeah, but he's just so injury prone.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the most injury prone team in the league now, and
They
it's
are.
like you don't know. Like Will Fuller already, like the past 2 years, has been a ghost on the field because you can't see him. He's usually not there.
Yeah.
David Johnson probably gonna get hurt.
Got hurt last
Deshaun Watson is probably just crying in his room every night thinking about losing DeAndre Hopkins. He could throw the ball between his legs and spin around in the air, and DeAndre Hopkins would catch it one hand. Wouldn't even look at the ball. He'd be blindfolded.
When you have a guy like that who's literally taking double coverage every play, it opens up the rest of the field for your other guys. Now they have a better complement of other receivers. If you take DeAndre Hopkins out of the equation, I mean, you look at their receivers. If all of them are healthy, you potentially have a decent group. I mean, you got speed. Will Fuller,
Right.
Randall Cobb, Kenny Stills, and who's the other one? I'm butchering it, and I know my friend Aiden's going to absolutely hate me.
Brandon Cooks?
Excuse me, thank you. Brandon Cooks. So, we just talked about him in the trade, duh. So you have those 4 guys. I mean, together, that sounds like a good compliment. The question is, can they stay healthy?
Yeah. Well, like I understand it. Like, it makes sense. Like, you're getting more, in theory, you're getting more bang for your buck 'cause you're getting more people on the team. Like, it makes sense, but I don't like it.
I don't like it either.
And I can't stand the whole draft deal. I'm not 1,000% on if they have a second round pick or not, or but they've given up so many draft picks, and I understand why he's made all of his moves, but I just don't like the thinking behind it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you.
And that's fine because you know what, Deshaun Watson's not going to want to be there anymore because apparently Billy O's a douche. All right. DeAndre Hopkins apparently it came out that he said some stuff to DeAndre Hopkins. And some other players have complained about him in the past, and he's working 2 jobs, and so I just don't see the Texans being the team that they have been in the division for much longer.
There's too much going on with that coaching job. I mean, you can't effectively do a head coach and general manager's job if you're doing both at the same time, because you're not able to donate enough time necessary to be an elite head coach nor to be an elite general manager, because you're devoting time to both tasks. Because to be an effective and a great head coach in this league, I mean, you got to do what Bill Belichick does, what Andy Reid does. I mean, you're 120% married to the game. And
they also just lost another big lineman. So I wonder, they lost 2 linemen this year if you count Clowney and this guy. I wonder if they're just like, J.J. Watt's not going to be here much longer. Deshaun Watson's about to leave. Like, it's time to sell out, and we got to try to do it.
We're just going to go for it. Yeah. I mean, and they were on the cusp of it last year, right? I mean, you're in the divisional round. You're up 24-0 against the Chiefs.
Texans weren't going to make it to the playoffs. They would play the Titans next, or they weren't going to make it to the Super Bowl. I'm sorry. They play the Titans next week.
I mean, yeah, you're right. I'm just saying they're on the cusp. They're right there. How many times have they been in the divisional round or the wild card round knocking at the door? So maybe they're thinking, hey, this can get us up over the top. But I think you're right.
They can't win a game in the playoffs. They're so bad in the playoffs.
Yeah, here's where I completely agree with you on the draft capital thing. How many times have we talked about? We just talked about it a lot in the Hometown Hero segment YouTube video. How important is that draft capital in terms of a window to win a championship? Because in a day and age where you're having to pay your quarterback and they're going to have to pay Deshaun Watson, if we're getting ready to pay Dak 38, imagine what Deshaun Watson is going to ask for. It's going to be upwards of 40. So in a day and age where you have to pay your franchise quarterback an exorbitant amount of money, and not being able to devote the same amount of resources as before to your other positions, those draft picks become that much more valuable because you have a window of 2 to 3 years to win a championship in this league. And that has to be if you drafted well at key positions, if you have a franchise quarterback, if you have a number 1 receiver, do you have a defective line, and do you have a pass rush? You have to check off all those boxes in a 3-year window, and those draft picks become important because you can't have all those pieces with paying those top-tier players at the position at market value. You have to have effective ones that you drafted. And so not being able to have that draft stock That's going to hurt them later on down the line. So they're going all in. If they don't win it in the next 2 years, 3 years, it's a bust and you're rebuilding for 10.
I feel like the odds of that are super low right now anyways for the next 2 to 3 years, just because you got the Titans. The Colts have Phillip Rivers now. Like you can't just look at that and be like, "Oh, they're not going to be good."
Right.
You know, like their offensive line is monsters. Marlon Mack's good. T.Y. Hilton's an animal. They drafted Paris Campbell. There's no telling who they're going to get this year, you know.
Right.
Jacksonville still has some studs on defense, even though everyone wants to leave. So
they're rebuilding, and they'll be nasty in like 4 years.
Nah. They're bad management and stuff too. They always choke. They were in the AFC Championship, and they just threw it away, man. It is wild what happened to them.
They had the top defense in the league, and they were in the AFC Championship, and were a quarterback away from being in the Super Bowl.
You know what happened to them?
Choked so bad.
You know what happened to them? That old Derrick Henry stiff arm.
That old
99-yarder just put the whole put them in a coffin. Put the whole team in the dirt, man.
I'll tell you what, he threw a kick me sign on the back of Ed Reed. Or not Ed Reed, excuse me, Earl Thomas. That would never happen to Ed Reed, frankly. I'm just sorry that wouldn't happen.
Speaking of great times.
Yeah.
It's time for your favorite time.
Is it really?
In the pod, Jackson.
It is. Okay.
Time for take it or leave it.
Okay. I had one more thing I kind of want to talk about with Brady. Maybe that's in your take it or leave it. Okay, go ahead. Never mind. I'm sorry.
What's up? You had something about Brady? What's up?
Yeah. I was.
Wait. Let's do take it or leave it first, and you can touch up on it.
And we can circle back.
Case.
Okay. Yeah, we'll circle back after.
Because you never know. We might have been on the same wavelength.
I think you might be right. Okay.
Anyways, it's time for take it or leave it. All right. For anyone that doesn't know, this is a time where I think of like 5 statements, questions, whatever. Say them to Jackson. He has no idea what's going on. And then he just off the dome gives us his answer if he takes or leaves it. All right? See where I got the name? It's wild. Crazy
Isn't that
name.
crazy?
You know what? Don't know how I came up with it. So first off, Danny Dimes. All right? Okay. You picking up what I'm putting down?
I'm picking up. Okay. Danny Dimes
can elevate the Giants into playoff contention. Not necessarily like 100% make the playoffs. But
this year?
He will be good enough this year to put them in playoff contention.
Okay. I'm going to take it, and this is why. For one reason, bro.
Terrible division.
It's a terrible division.
I knew it.
It's a very bad division. I mean,
it's so
if
bad.
you listen to my Hometown Heroes video, I got to get enough promos on the video, by the way, guys.
Yeah.
I talked about the Cowboys free agency, and it ain't looking pretty. And, we lost our key center and Travis Frederick in that. Lost a couple other pieces. It was a magical opportunity last year for us to walk away with that division, and we just choked it bad. I'm looking at the Eagles, injury prone. I mean, but they won the division last year with the practice squad. Who knows what happens next year? We're definitely weaker this year going into the year than we were last year for sure. I mean, you don't have to worry about the Redskins. I mean, come on. Me and Lucas had a full episode where we just bashed on the Redskins organization for what they did to Trent Williams, and how they treated him. So it's a super easy division. I know the NFC is tough, but they also picked up Jason Garrett, and Jason Garrett's going to be their offensive coordinator. And Garrett, he's not a good head coach, but he's a good coordinator. If he could focus on one side of the ball and just do his thing, he was a good coordinator for us for several years. And I feel like he's going to have it out for us for getting rid of him, and he rightfully should. Even though it was the right decision, I begged for it we were a year too late in doing it. I'll tell you what, man, we have beaten the Giants. I think it's like 8-2 record against the Giants in like the past like 4 or 5 years. We're due for a 0-2 year, and I think this is the year. So them getting 2 free wins off us, they'll get 2 free wins off the Redskins. They're going to split the games against the Eagles. They're 5-1 in their division. I haven't looked at their schedule, but I'm willing to bet that with a healthy Saquon and a little more mature and experienced Danny Dimes and a new coaching staff, they might just get lucky and do the damn thing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think they're going to be in playoff contention.
So, so I don't think necessarily that Danny Dimes elevates them. I don't have 100% belief in him to for him to take his game to the next level. But you got Saquon Barkley, you can do anything. Do anything you want.
That's all right. Yeah, I don't. To answer your question, I don't think it's because of Danny Dimes. I think that other factors are going to allow them to be in playoff contention.
I hear you. So my actually next thing was related to the Giants again.
Okay.
And Coach Clapp, all right? Take it or leave it. Coach Clapp will get revenge.
Take it.
And obviously you think yes, because you already
Take it. I just said it before. I think we're going to go 0-2 against the Giants this year. Yeah. I really
Look at
do.
Jackson going outside, going past the question, all right? Doing his own thing, answering other questions. He didn't even know I had him.
I didn't even know, but I answered it already. I think we're going 0-2 this year against the Giants. We're long overdue for it. It's like a big old earthquake. It's destined to happen. So, yeah.
So next thing is pretty recent. McCaffrey signed a new contract, like $16 million a year for 4 years.
Very recent. Yesterday.
So I want to know, is Christian McCaffrey underselling himself? Because the ex-GM of the Titans came out and said that was they got a crazy good deal on him. Like they got a really good deal on
I think McCaffrey would have benefited greatly from waiting on Derrick Henry. Because I think if Derrick Henry signs his deal that he's going to sign, right? He signed his franchise tender, which is great, but I think they're going to get a deal done, hopefully. I mean, McCaffrey, and you explained in the episode previous, he gives you a lot more versatility than Henry. Obviously, Henry was a rushing champion. Henry is an incredible runner. The dude's stiff arm is literally like rated 100 on Madden for a reason. He stuck a kick me sign on the back of Earl Thomas. But McCaffrey just allows you to do so much more. I mean, I think, didn't he have like 1,000 receiving yards and 1,000 rushing yards or something ridiculous, or so many receptions? Like,
yeah, he's a video game, bro.
He's literally playing a video game, and we're all in his. And I think he just gives you a little bit more than Henry, just in terms of where more he's able to do. But he is the highest paid running back in the NFL right now. He set the standard, so I think he's gonna want a higher deal. Yeah, I think he undersold himself just a bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, is he underselling himself? Like,
yeah, I think so. I think he probably could have got 18. Because I also think 18, yeah. I think he's also the Panthers franchise right now.
I think he could have got a longer deal. Like his rookie deal wasn't up yet anyways, you know what I mean? So
yeah, but I've also heard like some players really want that 4-year thing because they think the market will reset every 4 or 5 years, so they want to be eligible for a re-up to go into their career.
So they can get that money.
Yeah.
I understand that. I feel that.
So, but yeah, I think he sold himself just a little bit short.
Yeah, I think he did too.
With where Carolina is right now.
Well, it's just wild what he can do. And I don't know why you'd want to stay in Carolina. I guess he's trying to be a good guy, but
I mean, hey, props to him. You become the highest paid running back in the league. You're also helping out your other team contractually. You get to say that you were the highest paid at one point, and it's not like you're making scrap money. You know, it's $16 million a year.
He's picking up that Luke
Kuechly contract. Yep.
Almost said Coochly.
Yeah. Casey's out here dying in the truck. I guarantee you right now, bro.
Anyways, fourth one. Okay. The Packers. There's 2 underrated questions. The Packers are being underrated at the moment. I feel like the Packers made the playoffs, and I feel like they're just flying under the radar right now. Ain't no one
the NFC Championship.
Ain't no one talking about even Aaron Rodgers. I feel like ain't getting a lot of airtime right now. It's kind of weird. I'm
telling you
not
what,
used
man.
to that.
They ain't liking Matt LeFleur or Croissant.
I don't blame him. I don't like him either.
Or whatever it is.
I don't like him either.
Yeah, they are. So what was your question? I'm sorry.
Are the Packers being underrated right now?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think any team that was in the NFC Championship game the year before and has not been talked about making a lot of noise, maybe that's just part of Green Bay culture. And I mean, there's not a lot going on right now. You got Aaron Rodgers going into the second year of Matt LaFleur's offense. Surely they'll be better. I mean, they made the NFC Championship game, right? You found your running back in Aaron Jones. Curious to see what happens. Hopefully Devontae Adams can stay completely healthy, get that turf toe fixed, and keep moving. I mean, you won the division. You were number one. I think the number one overall seed, or number two maybe. Yeah.
See, no one cares. No one cares about the Packers right now. It doesn't matter.
No one's talking about it.
I think they're being a little underrated right now also, and I think it is partly due because of their coach and partly due because Aaron Rodgers didn't exactly do Aaron Rodgers stuff last year,
Yeah. Is he kind of tapering off a bit? I mean,
it might be. Hey, Max Kellerman wants to talk about the cliff, but he might need to set it in Aaron Rodgers' plate instead of Brady's. Just saying.
Max Kellerman always wants to talk about the cliff, but here's the thing: if you talk about the cliff enough times, eventually you're going to be right. He's just waiting for that day.
That's true. He's like 4 years in a row now.
Yeah, he's just waiting.
Last one to the Brady thing. Let's see if you might have been thinking what I had already thought.
Okay.
Tom Brady, take it or leave it. Tom Brady will be the first player in history to win the Super Bowl, or at least to play it, I guess, in his home stadium.
Oh, is it in Tampa this year?
It's in Tampa.
Oh my gosh, that is one.
The stars have aligned.
Wow, wouldn't that be crazy if that happened? If he goes to Tampa, completely, like he shocks the nation and where he decides to go. He has Chris Godwin, he has Mike Evans, Bruce Arians. The stars align. They change their uniforms. He's literally trademarking Tampa Bay. Okay, he's seeking a trademark for Tampa Bay. Okay, so I mean, Chris Godwin gave him his number and everything, and for the Super Bowl to be held in Tampa, wouldn't that be crazy? You beat out Drew Brees in your own division. You beat out Matt Ryan, who you came down against 28-3 against in the Super Bowl. You beat Bridgewater. You go through the NFC, which is an absolute gauntlet with the defenses that they have in Seattle and Chicago and San Francisco. And you host the first Super Bowl. You win it. Then you ride off into the sunset. Take your guaranteed cash, give them a Lombardi trophy, and stick it to Bill Belichick. It sounds like too good of a story. For that, I'm gonna have to say, take it. Let's do it, baby. Let's go, Brady.
Ooh.
Take it.
Ooh, you trying to add that into a bet, Jackson?
Absolutely not. Sounds too good to be true for that reason. Probably not gonna happen, but I'll give him the little extra loving from the Go for Two podcast. I'll give him that good juju.
Yeah, I got it. Isn't that wild? So like I said, I'm not exactly sure if a team has played in their home stadium.
I don't think so.
And hosted it, but they would definitely be the first to win it. And that would be crazy.
The first to host it, first to win it.
Yo, insta goat. All right, he's already the goat, but he would be instantly goated, best player of all sports.
Yes.
Ever. No one can say nothing.
They just might go ahead and do the damn thing. I don't know. And that circles me back to that one thing I want to talk about with the Patriots, and I talked about it briefly in my response. Do you think Bill Belichick was a big factor in Tom Brady's decision to leave?
Yeah, for sure. I think we knew how that relationship was going. I believe Brady has even said things, or it's been reported that Brady has said stuff about Belichick's negligence when it came to getting him weapons. Yeah. And so I think he wanted to go somewhere where maybe he was a little more appreciated, somewhere where he had the chance to prove himself,
Yes. I think so too. I think that's a big factor. And man, wouldn't that be a crazy story to go to Tampa, win the Super Bowl in the home stadium, and just capitalize his career with a big exclamation point at the end.
It'd actually be wild. It would really be wild.
That would be insane. Absolutely insane.
He's got to beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl, though, to make it perfect.
Wouldn't that be something? Belichick gets Cam, and they make it because they have a defense, right? You got Stephon Gilmore, okay? Maybe they add in a weapon or two, and he just comes in and brings it in, and he beats Belichick in the Super Bowl. That would be absolutely wild, man. Absolutely wild. But guys, thank you so much, man, for listening to episode 1 of season 2 of the Go for 2 podcast. Thank you guys for coming out and giving us a listen. We're back. I don't know if we mentioned it before. We mentioned the Hometown Heroes video. We're back through the rest of the season for the Super Bowl. We will have an episode every week, extenuating circumstances allowing. I have an episode every single week until the end of the Super Bowl. We're going to go big this season. We're making a big amount of episodes, hopefully trying to make it to right around 40 or so. I think that would be insane. Trying to bring you guys some entertainment during the Corona apocalypse. Okay, give you guys some good entertainment. You guys can listen to it in the car, wherever you guys are at home, stuck in quarantine, doing your thing. So, again, please follow our YouTube channel. We're doing the Hometown Hero segment separately every week. Me and Lucas are going deep diving into Hometown Heroes, really expanding on that because we wanted to be able to add a little more time to this show for some different topics around the league, but we also at the same time wanted to really focus on our team, the 2 best teams in the league, so if you guys
the
don't
teams that we really care about.
That's right.
So we're allowed to do that.
Yeah, exactly. So please go ahead and follow and like, subscribe for that, so you can get that content each and every week, so we know that there are some people out there that definitely like to see it. So yeah.
We need comments. All right, at the beginning of every week. All right, just like last season, gonna start reading off the comments. All right, Mr. Casey's gonna be first. All right, because he's the best commenter. All right,
that's
because
facts.
He has seniority over everyone. But if you got a good one, even if you're bashing us, all right, if you tell Jackson he's got a big forehead and
it's true
that I'm obese, you're just stating facts. All right, I can't hate you for that.
All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.